You did
Yeah.
mention the pandemic. I'm curious, how are you finding that affected a lot of your clients? Because it obviously affected a lot of people, perhaps the entire
Mhm.
world at the time, and
Yeah.
and financially, it was damaging to a lot of people. So what did you find throughout that process, and how are you transitioning out of that and trying to get everybody back on track?
Yeah, I think that the way we do business obviously has changed. I think that people's mindset about back to my theme of the book of being purpose is people really are now thinking, what is it I want to do, and what really matters most. I think that's really a key change for people's mindset. And now they're not, they've also seen how markets can go down, and they've also seen how they can recover. So it was a very fast and painful but quick to recover time frame to understand what it's like to be a long-term investor and still be able to draw income and sustain yourself in retirement. So it was helpful in that regard as far as an education. But now what I think is what we're seeing much more of is how people are appreciative of very specific, more, special things in their lives and the things that they want to do. And that leads into the kind of conversation we typically have is really what matters most to you. And these are some of the things you really want to do. You really want to, I'll have people who want to get together with their kids and they're scattered across the country, and gathering them together somehow at one key location every year is really something that matters. And what's the cost associated? And that's a new goal in their retirement plan. But maybe there's other things that were scattered around there. And I think that's really what's helped us is to focus. And if anything, it's helped people be more goal centric, but also I think more conservatively minded on what they spend.
Yeah, I mean, obviously the pandemic it realigned a lot of people's thinking.
Mm-hmm.
Some people would have just worked for the rest of their lives. My grandfather worked so hard for his entire life, and I swear he retired multiple times. I don't know how he did it, but he almost never put down work. And I feel like that emotional part of that. I mean, he just loved working, and it wasn't. He just loved
Right.
what he was doing. And how do
Right.
you handle that with somebody, like, obviously, especially couples? They're like, we want to wrap it up. One might want to never stop working, which I experienced
Right.
that in my family. How do you handle the emotional aspect of retiring and just people not realizing they don't have to go to work anymore?
Well, that's true. I think that with people, I talk about, do you have enough? If you wanted to, or if your job just disappeared, do you have enough? And then the next question is, have you had enough? And that's really how that conversation unfolds. And some people I meet, I introduce myself, and I'm Pete Gutekunst. My firm's Good Financial Services, and I work with people who are concerned about life after the paycheck ends. Oh, I'm never going to retire. I'm always, and yeah, you are. That's probably more true today than it's been in, past generations. But you will do a little bit less. You will cut back, or you will do the part of the job that you really like. Something will adjust there. And that's usually how that conversation unfolds. But you also raised an interesting point about sitting with a couple is sometimes, oh, I'm never going to retire. And the other spouse is, what are you talking about? You've been going to work, and I'm sitting here and I'm waiting for you to retire, and you're saying you're never going to stop, or, that kind of thing. That's really another value of working with a financial planner is we've been in that conversation. I'm not a psychologist, but we have those kind of
Yeah.
conversations because we've been through them, and we help get that focused. And I think that really helps identify the capacity to retire, because maybe you have enough to support yourself, but you could still earn something. Or many people are now, what I'm seeing, are retiring in a very long, drawn out process. Their employer doesn't want to let that high caliber, experienced person just leave. And so they're letting them stay and help transition the next generation of leadership. And so that's been a very nice way to sort of figure out how retirement's going to look like, and maybe reduce time and commitment to work. And those are the kind of conversations that we have with people. And sometimes we tell that story, oh, I didn't even think that was an option. And they go to their employer, and the next thing you know, they're working 30, 25 hours and still going to work every day, but have a lot more time to so-called be retired.
Yeah, that's great. That's what happened with my grandfather. He did the same thing where it just kind of trickled out, and eventually he was finally my grandmother convinced him and was like, "Wrap it up," you
Yeah.
know.
He
We
had
want
enough
to, yeah,
he had enough somewhere along
yeah.
the way. If you liked our video today, please share. And if you have any questions or comments, let us know. And if you'd like to start a conversation, we'd love to talk to you at goodfinancial.com, and you can sign up for a conversation there and answer any questions you may have.